Prime Minister Justin Trudeau finally called that by-election in Burnaby South, British Columbia. Jagmeet Singh does have a chance now to get into Parliament.
Very confident he's going to win.
I'm confident Jagmeet Singh will be a member of Parliament and will win Burnaby South.
The only fair result of when he does win is that it should actually put to rest some of this chatter that's going on.
I will be the leader that runs the New Democratic Party into the next federal election without any doubt.
Is this a do-or-die by-election for Jagmeet Singh?
I think it's all in for Jagmeet Singh here for sure, Evan. He's also running in a riding that the NDP was able to win despite the Liberal wave in 2015. So I think that all the chances are on his side to be able to win in Burnaby South.
I'm confident we're going to win here. I'm confident that people are feeling let down by Mr. Trudeau's government. I'm confident people need us in their corner because they haven't felt like someone's been in their corner. And I'm confident if we continue working hard, we are going to win in Burnaby South because people need us.
Still, the NDP leader faces a very tough fight. The party is having trouble raising money. But I guess the questions will be, is he ready for prime time?
Well, I mean, the answer is clearly no. This is a party that's in trouble. They don't hardly have enough money for an election campaign, let alone for a leadership race. If he loses, should he go? Of course he should go. It doesn't matter who else replaces him, but a losing leader cannot lead a party into an election.
For the chattering classes to get caught up in this what if parlor game. Let's see what actually happens on the 25th. Let's see what he performs like in Parliament, and that'll set the stage for the campaign.
Look, one of the best gifts you can have in politics is being underestimated and having low expectations. And it would be hard as of today for Jagmeet Singh to have lower expectations than he has, which I know is a bit of a double-edged comment.
Let me just quickly talk about China, which is another big issue. This past week, the Chinese ambassador to Canada put out an editorial that accused Canada of having a double standard. They've detained 2 Canadians after Canada detained one of the business executives from Huawei, as you know, in Vancouver. But the ambassador from China accused Canada of, quote, white supremacy. If you were the Prime Minister, what would you say to the Chinese right now?
Sorry, who accused who of white supremacy?
The ambassador from China to Canada wrote an editorial, and he said there's a double standard between Canada's enforcement of the rule of law, and there's 2 Canadians, as you well know, detained. And he called Canada using white supremacy to enforce the rule of law. You're the Prime Minister. You got to respond to that. What's the response?
I don't know if there's any evidence of that suggestion. I know that there is a very important role that Canada plays in supporting the rule of law. There are concerns that folks legitimately are raising about the Trump administration and suggestions that the Trump administration is going to use arrests as a political tool in negotiations for trade, which is completely unacceptable and wrong. That should never happen. But the rule of law should be followed. It's something that we need to be partners with internationally to make sure that there is a reliable system that we know we can depend on, and that's what we have to follow.
Because I heard him first. I said, hold on.
Sir, I know you're criticizing the Trump administration, but China's detained 2 Canadians. I just wonder if you got your eye on the ball here. We've got 2 Canadians detained in China. What's your view on China, not on Trump?
Right. So with China's detention of Canadians, again, that is deeply concerning. We need to make sure that anyone that's being detained is being done. It's being done in an appropriate manner. It's being done in the right manner. There's actually a full due process. Laws are being followed, and their protection is paramount. We're concerned right now with the detention of Canadians in China. That is something that all Canadians are concerned with, and we want to see our country make sure that those folks are safe and that they're returned safely, and that the detention is being done not as a backlash to Canada following the rule of law.
We all know that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is quite gaff-tastic, but he's got a little bit of competition in that department. The leader of the third party, Jagmeet Singh, recently was asked about the situation in Venezuela, and here's what he had to say or not say.
Who's the president of Venezuela?
Well, whoever the people of Venezuela decide.
Yeah, so you're not taking a position?
I'm taking the position that the people of Venezuela have a sovereign right to make that decision, and it's our job to support the people of Venezuela in making that decision.
Okay, so Guaido has declared himself as the president. Do you recognize that?
Again, I mean, I've already answered. I believe very strongly that the people of Venezuela have the right to make that decision, and our job as the international community is to support that right and that ability to have free and fair democratic elections.
So how will you know when they've made that decision? Another election?
The people will decide.
I think maybe it's a bit of the last thing, but the one thing I will say is I think Jagmeet Singh needs to get off his talking points. Like, I mean, it is just almost laughable at this point how much he was repeating the same talk over and over and over again. I mean, people want to see some authenticity, and he's got about the depth of a, like a puddle.
But now that all that is over, we're supporting Juan Guaido, the opposition leader, and we want to make sure that, that Mr. Maduro is gotten rid of. Now, at the same time, we just had, as you just said, out west, a completely different version. So I don't know what the official position is, because the caucus chair and Hélène Laverdière, the foreign affairs critic, are both saying one thing, and apparently something quite different was said by Mr. Singh out west.
We are here to stand for the federal nomination, not provincial. Housing is a provincial legislated issue. And so what will really help is the plan of the People's Party of Canada put forward by Maxime Bernier to lower taxes, to repeal the carbon tax, to abolish capital gains tax, to get pipelines approved, to abolish interprovincial trade barriers and get people back to work, to improve foreign policy focused on security and prosperity. We need to care. When you are a leader of the entire NDP party, why are you talking about housing, which is provincial? Why are you not talking about lowering taxes? Because your party platform wants to raise taxes. If you care about the people of Canada, then start caring about making real promises to the people. It's very clear that Canada loves diversity and we love people. I believe as a Christian that we are to open our houses and our country to foreigners. That is not the issue. The issue is we do need to know who they are. We do need to understand that there are some people who could enter our country who might not share our values. Case in point, Marissa Shen. She's a 13-year-old girl that was murdered right here in Burnaby South in Central Park. I grew up when I was 14, I spent hundreds of hours with my friends. We goofed off a lot, and we spent a lot of time in that park. That precious girl was, her life was taken from her by a refugee. Not all refugees would do such a heinous act, but surely we need to know who is coming into our country. When you are letting 40 to 50,000 people illegally jumping the borders, how do we know who that is? Would we let those same people into our home to sleep on our couches right next to the bedrooms of our children? We need to be safe.
I don't take any pleasure in saying this, so I don't want any applause for saying this, but I'm disgusted by some of the values being espoused on this, that I've just heard. It's disgusting to hear that. Now, we're talking about refugees, we're talking about people who are fleeing danger. These are people fleeing death. These are people fleeing serious situations. We need to have a caring heart and caring mind when it comes to people that are fleeing such dangerous situations. And of course we should welcome our hearts and our minds to people coming in, but we can't allow divisive rhetoric to purposely pit one against another. People are clapping when people say we need to turn away illegals. I didn't hear anyone clap when we talked about how our country is built on immigration. Our country is built on immigration. We should celebrate that. We don't need divisive politics that will put one group against another. We all need to together.
I think we have a national crisis going on. I think that we've all lost our identity. When we have a leader that doesn't think that Canada has a true identity, from coast to coast to coast, people are not encouraged to be patriotic. We don't know who we are. Our values are falling to the ground. There is a rise in criminal activity. We are not emboldening our RCMP. It seems like more and more the perpetrators have more rights than those of us who honor the laws. In a day and age like this, we're not teaching young people what it means to be truly Canadian. I actually think we do have an identity. Our identity was founded in truth and integrity, and we have got to start returning some of those values and teaching those values in school rather than some of the misappropriated things that are being taught in school these days. Teach kids that their identity is sealed and powerful and strong, and that just one person can change a nation if they will understand the power of one.